What's good, YouTube? Today we are going to start a new House of Champs series called Therio. So basically, when we talk Therio, we're talking about the theory of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Obvious name, right? And Therio is a common term in Yu-Gi-Oh! But I don't really see many channels do videos besides shoutouts to Glasgow Yu-Gi-Oh! About actual theory. So let's go ahead and start talking some. Today I'm going to talk about why we see the most consistent players top over and over, and this is technical gameplay. So we also see kind of players who have been older players coming back too, such as Jesse Samick with his win, and this also goes into what I'm going to talk about. So when you have a format break open, there's a rush of new decks, new ideas, but the most basic core strategy tends to win the first event. Why is that? It's because basic and ingrained solid gameplay tends to always come out on top at the beginning of a format. This has been seen in almost every gaming industry. The fighting game industry, you see the basic ability and the easiest combos win at first and the technical gameplay take over. This is hard to reset in Yu-Gi-Oh! In every single format. So this is why you see players such as Jake D. Finney winning the ARG recently, or Tamid winning this YCS. The more technical gameplay and deck building ends up taking over the format. Burning Abyss is not Helmet. Like, you have many option trees, many ways to go, many reactionary cards, and a lot of decisions. Even though it's an older deck, so it seems like it's easier, it's not. So I'd like to make the exact example of Domain Monarchs and why they fizzled out. Domain Monarchs were the easier strategy. They were the floodgate. You had 3 searchable floodgates that locked out your opponent. But as the format went on, people adjusted to it. In their first events, they did a lot better because it's a basic strategy that did not take as much thought as Extra Deck Monarchs, and Extra Deck Monarchs weren't fully evolved yet. So you end up having kind of this evolution through a format where counters are gained, and Extra Deck Monarchs happen to take care of every counter. You're able to overlay and take care of your floodgates such as Mask Restrict using the rank 5 system. And you're also able to take care of Fog King in the same way. It answers both floodgate problems that people started to side deck. So what happens here? Why this evolution? Extra Deck Monarchs are a much more technical deck, meaning the pilots using it are usually much more skilled than the people playing Domain Monarchs. And this is no knock if you're playing Domain Monarchs. It's a simpler strategy that is starting to be proven less effective because you're just trying to lock out your opponent with 3 searchable cards. And Domain Monarchs and deck building would need to evolve past that to protect their floodgate and still have a consistent strategy in order to compete. And we still see it top, but we see the amount of Domain Monarchs top far more than Domain Monarchs. Extra Deck Monarchs up here, Domain down here. So why do we see this happen through each reset? Well, the solid play and the solid strategy in the hands of a good pilot who's not going to really make as many mistakes is going to go much further in a tournament than somebody piloting a new, less practiced strategy that they've just picked up. You are going to end up making mistakes. This is why I said Cleafort Demise was a very good deck. You have, through a long tournament, the least opportunities to make mistakes with your deck. That's why this strategy is very viable. And my next video is going to talk about the 5-way format and side decking, because side decking is also something you do every single duel, and as a format evolves, you'd have 5 viable decks with 2 rogue decks that are very viable options as well. Right now we've gone into an evolved format where Pendulum's back, Burning Abyss PK, Cosmo, Monarch, you have Psyframe and Water on Rogue, and you have other strategies too viable Rogue, and you have Cleafort Demise knocking between Rogue and Meta. So I just wanted to talk about, the theory of why the technical play takes over throughout these formats, and why you see the better players consistently topping through that. And what do you guys think? What do you think about evolution format by format? Sometimes a set release will condense it within a format, but typically throughout a ban list, the more advanced decks tend to do better as it goes on, but do more poorly early on. And I am a firm believer in this. I think the better players take a solid strategy first, and then learn to counter it throughout a format and become more technical. But the solid gameplay is rewarded early, and the solid deck building is rewarded early. That's why you see players side 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 in their side deck a lot of the time instead of 2, 1, 2. You want the more consistent draws. You want the more consistent things. So what do you guys think? What happens kind of earlier in the format and then the progression? Like, what do you think there's technical decks that will transfer over in this one if Monarchs are left untouched? Do you think we can kind of see that take over? And we see more technical builds of Cosmo rise up too, and Fire King Cosmo Island, like Fire King Cosmo Island, Fire King Island with Cosmos. We might as well call it Cosmo Island. But what do you guys think? Like, do you think the more technical forms of Cosmos are also showing progression? And is that the most viable? Because, you know, as you go through, you misplay less and less as a pilot, and you learn more about the deck. Each deck is showing a more technical form, and as the format progresses, that technicality and the technical skill that it takes to pilot this makes it better and go further. So thanks for watching. Sorry if my thoughts got a little jumbled in this one. This is my first one, kind of rambling theory with myself and on to you guys. And part of the point of this is the discussion forum is going to be in the comments below. So I really want to hear what you guys have to say about, you know, the progression of formats. And I'm going to be doing a lot more of these kind of talking to you guys videos, saying my thoughts, and we also are going to have some new videos on rulings and talking about that and what I think, and really getting to know me a little more with you guys, because you all really reacted well to the Cliff Wart video where I'm sitting in the woods talking about Cleese, and my last video talking about deck building, and you all seem to really enjoy this kind of thing. Discussion forums seem to be a lot more popular on YouTube, and I think the interactivity between viewer and watcher is very important. So thanks for watching. This has been House of Champs, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to be doing a lot more of these.